Here we have Dan's 2018 Subaru WRX. The VA Subaru is the first generation of the WRX. Yes, I say first gen because up until now, the WRX and STI have always been on Impreza. But starting in 2015, Subaru decided to move away from marketing the WRX and STI under the Impreza name. This time, they opted to drop the Impreza name in all markets, in which the new model was simply named the WRX. While in Japan, they sold it as the WRX S4. So today, we're going to take Dan's VA, we're going to put it on the dyno to get some baseline numbers, and find out what this machine made out of the factory. In its current form, this car is completely stock, but before we put it on the dyno and get going, let's have a quick word from our sponsors.
What's up, Danger Dan?
What's going on, buddy?
What's for lunch, bud?
Just having myself some coffee.
What kind is that?
I don't know. Cobb coffee.
Oh, that coffee must void warranties.
Yeah, it must. What are you having for lunch?
I got a Cobb salad.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, hope it fills me up, though. You never know with these things, because kind of a strange kind of meal, you know? So I really like your new car.
Thanks, man.
Have you figured out what we're going to do to build it?
No, not yet. We're still trying to figure out who we should go to for all the performance parts.
Oh, yeah, eh? Have you given it so much thought which companies are going to support this?
How's your salad?
That's pretty good. I mean, it's not that filling, though. I mean, it's just, you know, salad is, they never really fill you up.
It's a Cobb salad?
It is.
Whoa. I got it.
Cobb
tuning.
20 minutes later.
Alright, everybody, so obviously we decided to go with Cobb tuning. We didn't have a choice. We're building a VA Subaru, so Cobb's probably the best choice for this. What do you say, Digger Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to say a big thank you to the folks over at Cobb for providing all the parts for this build. For those of you guys who don't know about Cobb, they've been around since 1999, started out as a Subaru tuning company. They were the first people to offer a tunable platform for the Subarus back in 99, before even the turbo cars started coming out. From there, they've grown and have expanded, so now they do everything from Subaru, Porsche, Ford, Mazda, Volkswagen, Nissan, so they have lots of different coverage, tons of different parts. All their parts are exceptionally well built in terms of the quality and the fit and finish on them. They also got the Access Port, which is the quintessential tuning platform for a lot of these vehicles, so I want to say big thank you to the folks over at Cobb for sponsoring this build. We're looking forward to getting it put together and showing you what all the parts can be done for your VA Subaru.
So stay tuned. We're going to keep doing this build here. We're going to go through all the Cobb goodies for you. We're going to unbox them. We're going to install them. And Danger Dan and I are going to take you on a little adventure building the Rad Dad Subaru. You want some salad?
No.
It's not very good. Their parts are better than the salad.
Much better.
Alright friends, we're here at legendary Neetronics. As you can see, they are quite the Subaru masters over here. We got almost every kind of Subaru you could dream, lust, crave, want in this life here. So we're going to find out today how much power Dan Subaru is going to make, aka the Rad Dad. We've got him ready here.
This in breaking news. You think Amber Heard and Johnny Depp was exciting? Well, how about the EPA versus Cobb tuning? What exactly is the EPA doing? Essentially, they're wetting our blanket. Back in the 1970s, which wasn't exactly the cleanest time, the US had Nixon as president. That was wonderful. They had a wonderful oil crisis, which detuned the power for pretty much everybody. Also, at the same time, there was something slipped through called the 1970 Clean Air Act. Essentially, this was to add air pumps and quite a few other emissions control units to help clean up the air. So places like California went from extremely dirty to still extremely dirty. Fast forward to now, the government really hasn't done much to enforce these laws, but for some reason it's come back across their radar to essentially put pressure onto different areas like the aftermarket to help clean up things. So this transitions us into the Greenspeed initiative from Cobb. The Greenspeed initiative is Cobb essentially putting a priority on being green while still allowing for aftermarket fun and goodness. So this means that California can worry less about the pollution and more about crippling depression and homelessness. So what does this mean for all of you tuners and Cobb Pro tuners out there? So to make it simple, things that modify the emissions control units like downpipes, catless downpipes, TGV deletes, air pump deletes, and certain fuels Tuning will be different or not supported in certain circumstances. To get into specific applications, vehicles like the Nissan GTR, there's no speed density tuning anymore, but things like ethanol are still able to be done. Subarus, it's kind of all over the place. With the EJs, the EJ255 and the 257, essentially there was hijacking of sensors, so unfortunately there's no longer a way to do that. So what happens when you aren't able to hijack a sensor or turn check engine lights off, when a check engine light comes on, the car will go into limp mode, which is unfortunate, but Cobb has a fix coming shortly for this. Okay. For the VAs in the WRX with FA20, this car doesn't require any hijacking of sensors, so tuning is normal. TGV and air pump deletes, unfortunately, are no longer supported, either through Pro Tuning or through the off-the-shelf maps. When doing things on the VA WRX, like an intake, an intercooler, and other little modifications, then you can still tune for that, but it's mainly the emissions control units that you aren't able to tune for the time being. Flex fuel, that is not able to be tuned for, but Cobb does have something coming in the near future that will allow for that to happen. Vehicles like Ford, Audi, BMW, Porsche, Mazda, Volkswagen, everything's more or less the same. You can continue as normal. What you cannot do is anything that would normally trigger a check engine light. Unfortunately, like with the Subaru and other vehicles, if a check engine light does come up, like if you're running a catless downpipe, that will still happen, but you're not going to be able to toggle the check engine light on or off. So essentially, run catted, boys. Let's do it. If I update my access port, will I lose any maps? No. If you have an access port that came with the stage 1, 2, and 3 maps, you will not lose that. It's just on the tuning software, which you'll not have the access to certain things like you did before. What does it really mean? It means that liberals, green people, tree huggers, they're all going to be happier, even though your Subaru is still really fucking loud. Even though we as car enthusiasts can be seen as the bane of existence to anybody who has children at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're screaming by at 7,500 RPM. Basically, those people can now rest at ease because you're a bee green. So what does this really mean? Essentially, if we look over the industry as a whole, this is actually a good thing for the industry. Basically, the EPA has been coming in hot and throwing out fines left and right, and essentially everyone is scared and has been shutting down new product development and has been very affected by all of this. So when you have a tuning giant like Cobb, who is still going to trudge forward, but going out and getting the CARB EOs, that shows the EPA that you can modify and still be green. So essentially, for everybody else out there, that helps because hopefully the EPA will see that this is possible and a lot of the heat will come off of the industry, meaning that you and I can still have our modified cars. Anything that Cobb doesn't have a CARB EO on currently, they are going after so that they can offer green modification products that are not going to hurt emissions, but are also going to help with performance. Cobb being a massive tuning company that they are, they have the resources to develop products and offer CARB EOs for people in California, which have quite strict emissions, but also in just other areas where having the emissions compliance is going to be very helpful. What this does is it allows you to make power, but then not hurt the environment, which apparently is a bad thing because it's getting hot out. So what is a CARB EO exactly? When talking about CARB EOs, this means an executive order. CARB is the California Air Resources Board. This is the governing body in the state of California for emissions control, which is actually something that is a little bit separate from the EPA. California is the only state permitted to issue emission standards under the Federal Clean Air Act. Essentially, everything needs to pass CARB in order to be roadworthy or deemed roadworthy. California has the strictest emissions control out of all of the US. So all companies are building to this standard, or at least attempting to, that way that they know that if it passes in California, it's going to pass elsewhere. But companies such as Cobb are making constant innovations to create new products which do have these EOs, which mean that you can modify safely and not have to worry about being in violation of the law. There has been a lot of information and disinformation lately on the internet, which has been spreading doom and gloom. But luckily, companies like Cobb have been setting the example and have been making constant innovations to create products that are both green as well as attaining extra performance. Cobb's new stage packages, for example, are making the same power without a downpipe as the previous stage packages were. So with these new stage packages come a lot of new products. This means that you can have your cake and eat it too. Things like Cobb's 20G Turbo has an EO approval. All of their titanium products have EO approval. All of their Redline products have EO approval. So you can modify without having to worry. So to reel everything back in here, I just want to talk about how Cobb taking the initiative here is really helping the rest of the aftermarket. Cobb is a fan of having your cake and eating it too. I am as well. I'm just getting this in. All right, we're going back to Dan and Lou, who are working on Project Greenspeed WRX.
We're going to interview these guys soon, try to see what they really think about this Greenspeed thing. I know there's a lot of controversy on the internet. Look at what all these people on the internet are saying. But really, they haven't tried it themselves, I think. But we're going to do it. This guy's super professional. He's coming right now. Don't film him. Don't film him. Be casual. Be casual. Be casual. Casual. Be casual. Be casual. Be casual. Just reporting live on the scene from the local Cobb enthusiasts out here and how they feel about Greenspeed. And sir, how do you feel about Greenspeed?
Green what?
That's what I thought especially.
Good car, bro. Thug life.
Let's go talk with another professional about this and just see what the word on the ground is. Andy. Andy. A more respectful angle on the Cobb Greenspeed build. Let's get the female perspective on this scenario.
Why are you assuming her gender?
Let's get a Natalie perspective
Why
on
are you
this.
assuming her name?
Let's get this person's opinion on Greenspeed.
My opinion on Greenspeed?
Yeah, well, how do you feel about it as a professional?
I'm indifferent to it, to be honest. If you want to modify your car and make power, then you take the risks that go along with it, and if you don't want to deal with it, then keep it stock.
Beautiful, man. That's what we came here to see. That's the real freaking word on the street. How do you feel, Dan, as a professional voider of people's warranties on their cars? How do you feel about Greenspeed? It's a little bit emotional right now. Vibe on the ground here. People are angry, happy, neutral, all over this Greenspeed thing. So without further ado, let's see what this car does on the dyno, friends. Now that we got our baseline numbers, it's time to install our Cobb access port and throw on their off-the-shelf 91 Octane tune to see what this thing does on a stock motor.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Oh man, the Rad Dad Rexy exceeded all expectations.
I'm happy. So the car baseline tunes, it put down 222 horsepower, 240 foot-pounds of torque, was it? And then we got Andy to throw on Cobb's off-the-shelf 91 Octane tune. That one's just to see what it's actually going to do on a bone stock car. So we did nothing else, just threw the tune on there, put on the high wastegate tune. Car ended up making 238 horsepower and 246 foot-pounds of torque. So, you know, big jump over stock. Car's got a lot more drivability out of it. It's going to feel a lot faster. You know, and that's pretty good numbers for just a bone stock.
Yeah.
Take it out of the box, slap it in, nothing else done to the car, tune. So I'm kind of excited to see what everything else, all the good stuff that Cobb sent to us is going to be doing for this car. Should be making some good power.
Really stoked. Stay tuned, everybody. Well, that's it for our first episode of Project Greenspeed. Next up, we're going to start unboxing our Cobb goodies and start bolting stuff onto this machine and see if we can make a bit more power next time we come visit the Neetronics dyno. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next episode. Bye now.